Digitalization has changed our lives. Almost all of us are connected on some level every day. At work, at home, and everywhere else.
Alexa, play Snoop Dogg's gospel album?
Shuffling gospel songs by Snoop Dogg.
Hi, Mom. What time is graduation ceremony again?
7 p.m. tonight.
Okay, see you then.
Bye.
Hey Beth, how are you?
I'm great, Marcy. How are you?
Great, good to talk to you. Just wanted to go over a few things in the integrated report.
All these devices that connect us are the Internet of Things.
So the Internet of Things is probably most simply related to a movement in things like fitness and appliances in our homes that are connected to the internet. That's sort of been the most rudimentary entry point for a lot of people, is like a Fitbit, right? It's a simple device that provides data to a central location that can be collected while we're sort of doing things day in and day out. In more industrial side, you have what's called the Industrial Internet of Things, or the IIoT, and that's the movement of bringing machines, industrial equipment, cities, and other large equipment online for the similar purposes of being able to collect data to better manage, maintain, take care of predictively and prescriptively. So we're seeing that sort of movement across the board of devices and technologies being brought online, and predictions show billions and billions of these devices, both for consumer purposes and industrial purposes, coming online in just the next couple of years.
So digitalization, when combined with emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and mobility and cloud, work together to form this a really transformative time that's referred to as Industry 4.0. It's the next generation of productivity improvements that mankind expects to achieve through the use of all of these technologies. And we're already beginning to see an impact of Industry 4.0 at ArcelorMittal. We are already seeing some changes in how we manage the business, and in particular in the supply chain in a digital world. How we take orders, how we plan and schedule those orders to ensure their execution on time, how we manage them through outside processors, and how we deliver to the customer. It's already having an impact. I'm particularly excited about the opportunity to change the way we interact with our customers. We're in the process now of moving our electronic data exchange to a cloud service. This will provide us more flexibility with our customers. We're in the process of remaking our web portal and making it mobile friendly. We want our preferred customers to be able to interact with us through that mobile device. I expect that we'll find more ways in which we can interact with the customers and look for win-win efficiency gains.
It's all about the data, and there are massive amounts of data. And much of that data is personal. Every time we go online, we're feeding information into the Internet of Things.
Alexa is a common example. I don't think a lot of people fully understand how it works. They appreciate it, they like it. They also don't understand that there's a privacy element, there's a data mining element, that because machine learning and deep learning and even AI, it's about training. So we are still obligated. Training happens in a few different ways. We train it with data that we feed it. So it's about Alexa becomes better at anticipating your needs the more data you give it. How do these, you go onto Amazon or onto a favorite store, eBay, and it starts to make recommendations, or you get recommendations of what articles you should read. These are all little bits of combinations of analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence that's been kind of introduced to us in our life. We haven't even been thinking about. How did Facebook know what we may or may not be interested in? It's data mining, it's artificial intelligence, it's machine learning.
But now industry is looking at ways to manage data. It's an enormous task. Experts predict that by 2020, there will be 50 times the digital content that exists today.
Well, when I think of digitalization, I think of emerging technologies, and I think of the large amounts of data that we're now able to collect. I think about our networks. Our networks are expanding at a phenomenal rate. We keep adding more and more devices to our networks. We now have more than 75,000 things on our networks just in the US. It's an amazing amount of equipment and things. These are things not just computers, but also operator stations. They could be devices that are measuring equipment or equipment performance. It's our manufacturing systems. It's all of our telephones. It's our printers. It's just everything is on the network these days. And all of those things are generating enormous amounts of data. The amount of data we collect is doubling every few years. It's an exponential growth in data. So it's really kind of an amazing time. A good example would be in maintenance. Just in the month of March, we collected more than 100,000 measurements of our equipment performance. Pretty amazing. It's not gigabytes or even terabytes anymore. Now we measure our data volume in petabytes. It's so much data, it's hard for any one person to get their head around all of this data, and it's amazing what we can do with it.
So, we have this data. What do we do with it? The sky's the limit. From orders to delivery, from raw materials to finished products, ArcelorMittal will be able to use data to streamline processes, improve products, and share information across our business. PwC estimates digitalization can cut costs by more than 3%.
So it's kind of on two ends, right? You have the data that's being collected from the factories, from your industrial plants, from your mining sites, and everywhere that can actually be used to improve the equipment efficiency. You're seeing large double-digit percentage gains in operational efficiency thanks to the Internet of Things and the analytics that are being collected. And then on the second side of it, you're also going to be able to have a better insight to your customer. You're going to have better understanding of ordering patterns, payment patterns. In the past, we were depended a lot on ERP solutions, our resource planning solutions, and our customer relationship management solutions, which often were primarily fueled by data we were inputting based upon spreadsheets, numbers, a lot of historical data, and a lot of data entry. And with the industrial Internet of Things, with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other emerging technologies, a lot more of that data can be automated. It can be collected, it can be processed, it can be managed and understood. And it can be done in partnership with humans to get better insights, better analytics that can then be applied to create better employee and customer experiences. The first thing that's going to really take place is that companies are going to be able to be smarter with their procurement of equipment, the management and maintenance of their equipment, and then it also helps with the personalization and customization of the solutions that they're going to be able to deliver to customers.
It starts with getting the data organized, and getting it organized and then providing visualizations of the data so that people can view the data and make better decisions based on it without getting into the details of the analysis. Take the maintenance data that we collect that I mentioned earlier. In that situation, we use software to analyze the results and guide us on what is the right maintenance to do at the right time. I'll give you another great example, and that's the delivery metrics. We created these delivery metrics to measure our delivery performance on a customer-by-customer basis. And we customized it for the specific way in which a customer wants to receive their material. It's really pretty amazing because we can go all the way down to the individual customer, we can go down to the individual order. We can also see trends in how our manufacturing is performing, and we can identify bottlenecks in the process before they happen. So I can view this information on my computer, of course, but I could also view it on my mobile device. I could view it from inside the plant or from outside the plant. And so can everybody else. We're all operating off the same set of data, viewable from anywhere. This is really powerful, and it's something we couldn't do before.
the automation and the big data and analytics that are being created can provide that clear data up and downstream that can allow all the suppliers to better communicate, to be more interrelated, to do things more predictively. You know, even now you're seeing predictive and prescriptive. Just yesterday, AI now, HPE made an announcement about an AI service that they could actually not just predict when a machine would fail, but they could actually have the entire prescriptive plan for fixing it, and it would all be done via AI. Keeping the machine working, keeping it up, increasing that operational efficiency, and developing the products that, you know, and getting them out on time. And then of course, there's also all the nuance. So when you guys are trying to deliver a very specific product based on a specification, that data, being able to real-time extract that data to show a customer, hey, this is exactly the compound, exactly the way you ordered it, right here, right now, and you can be telling them that in real time, that gives you guys a whole new level of capability to keep the supply chain moving, to keep sales and revenues moving. And that's something that people should be excited about and should be investing in, as it's going to make every business that much more efficient.
We are reinventing our business, and we're going to continue to reinvent. We have a great R&D capability with a history of developing new, innovative products, like the accurate door ring and lightweighting vehicles. We are implementing new processes, like the ArcelorMittal tailored blanks facility in Detroit. We recognize the importance of adapting to industry change and customer needs. All of this keeps us competitive, keeps us sustainable. We also have a solid technical foundation of both equipment and systems, as well as talent. We have the data and analytics capability. We've embraced mobility, and we use robotics and drones. We have a clear vision of what a digitalized company looks like, where everything is connected. We know this has the potential to change the way we do business with our customers. The technology will allow us to innovate in ways we never could before.
I don't think there's been an industry yet where a deeper utilization of analytics has not found increased outcomes and improved outcomes. My biggest concern, and the thing I end up talking most to executives about, is making sure that the analytics are powering the decisioning and not allowing your desires to power the analytics. And if I quickly explain, is sometimes we want data to tell us something. Sometimes data tells you something you don't want to know. You have to be willing for both, and you specifically have to be willing to let the data tell you what you maybe don't know so that you can improve and utilize it correctly. A lot of times executives still like that gut decision making, and they buy an analytics system and they say, well, can you set up the questioning to basically tell me what I want to know? Can you support that our processes are already good because I don't want to change them again? And anytime you want to find something in data, you almost can't. So that's a big important thing for people that are in your research and data science side, is that data itself can be skewed and modeled in many different ways and get you many different outcomes. But if you let the data go to work, it will create more efficiencies, and that's been noted and documented in every industry, including yours.
What makes today different is the availability of these emerging tools. Artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, machine learning. These are new, and we're beginning to use these to make better decisions and to optimize further. These developments have the potential to revolutionize business. We're at the tipping point of a sea change in industry with digitalization. So it only makes sense that when you have access to all of this data, you use it to drive more efficiency. Actually, we have a long history of doing this. We've applied models and self-learning models in our manufacturing process to improve efficiency, and we've done that for some time. But what's different now is the ability to bring data from many different sources in a new form called big data. And this creates new opportunities for us. And we're working with business units across ArcelorMittal globally, and certainly within the Americas, to look for the best opportunities to use this technology.
Since the beginning of time, jobs have changed as technology advances. The Industrial Revolution dramatically changed the workplace. Digitalization will be a disruptor as well. That doesn't necessarily mean fewer jobs, but it will likely mean different jobs that will require employees to advance their skills. ArcelorMittal will need the right people with the right analytical skills in the right places.
But what we are finding in our digital transformation research, and when we're looking at the companies who are doing things the best, which we studied extensively when I wrote the book Future Proof, we found that the companies are actually upskilling. So what they're doing is this movement towards automation is really not about eliminating a workforce. It's about giving their employees the opportunity to engage in greater learning and in becoming higher value employees inside of the company. So kind of retooling, if you think about it from a manufacturing standpoint, right? You had machines a long time ago. You have newer machines. Each generation of machine maybe does the things a little more efficiently, a little cleaner, maybe uses less power to allow the company to make greater profits, but to also reallocate resources towards growth, development, and others. Same thing for the human side of the business, right? When you take some of the mundane work out and you say to an employee, how do we upskill you? How do we help you become a more valued employee, doing things that maybe are more interesting to you? The automation and AI movements are going to provide that, because the contributions we're going to need from the humans are going to be greater. And it's not by any means an immediate thing. Some of the best skills that humans have, our ability to empathize, to care, to react and respond in real time to other humans and emotions and such, machines are still a ways away from being able to replicate those things.
I think our mills have always had a lot of automation. Some of it you see like automated guided vehicles or automated cranes. But we've also used things behind the scenes, self-learning models, fuzzy logic, and we bed them in control system to optimize the process. Robotics are used in several processes. A good example is in our labs where we process samples to test the quality characteristics of our products for our customers. We also use drones in measuring raw material piles and in doing building inspections. A very interesting one you can see right now on YouTube is a video on ArcelorMittal tailored blanks in Detroit. It's a new plant, has a lot of automation and robotics. A neat video to watch. Safety is also an important consideration. Part of every industrial revolution is putting people at less risk. New technologies can be used to reduce risk to our employees and contractors. Safety is our top priority. We can now use technology to reduce personal risk. That's an important investment for our company. We are seeing a lot of great examples, from creating dynamic red zones to providing proximity warnings for mobile equipment. People will always be part of the equation. Jobs aren't necessarily going away, but some jobs are going to be affected, and you'll need new skills and new abilities at work. But ArcelorMittal provides opportunities for reskilling and enhancing your career. And they do this all year round, not just during Learning Week.
Ultimately, digitalization will help a company not only survive, but thrive. History teaches us what happens to companies that are complacent.
So Kodak held a number of the patent portfolio related to digital photography. They were one of the earliest developers and one of the first to be able to develop a digital camera. But they didn't want to develop it. Why? Well, they were making so much money selling film that they were too worried about cannibalizing their profit centers today. So they actually held that back and didn't really come up with the plan to make money when that next wave of technology came out. They were behind the curve. They were no longer the leaders in digital because new companies like Sony, came in and became the leaders in that particular field and sort of displaced Kodak. And so while we still may use Kodak, synonymously with cameras and film, Kodak has is pretty much non-existent today. We've seen similar situations with Blockbuster. You gone and rented a movie lately? You gone to the movie store? And I have a great story there, but I think it was like in 2010, Jim Keyes was the CEO of Blockbuster, and he was asked if he was concerned about Netflix, and his answer was no, I'm not concerned about Netflix. A little further back, Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million. 50 million. And now you're talking about a company that's worth, tens of billions of dollars. And he said he wasn't concerned. He didn't fear what they were doing, that Blockbuster was the biggest, the strongest, the most robust company in the movie rental space, and they weren't worried. In 2013, Blockbuster closed its last 300 stores. And now, other than being a joke on Twitter about the last Blockbuster store, they don't exist.
This is a very exciting time. ArcelorMittal is making huge investments in terms of resources and management attention to keep the company on the forefront of digitalization in the steel industry. Digitalization should create value for both our customers and for our company. ArcelorMittal is the right company for digitalization. I think people are going to be surprised by what they see. From what I can tell, ArcelorMittal's on the right track.
ArcelorMittal is making huge investments in terms of resources, time, and in management attention to remain at the forefront of digitalization in the steel industry. Digitalization will create value for our customers and our company.